Donald Trump is at war with his own vice president. This isn't just a disagreement. This is the unraveling of the Republican Party. It's not about Democrats, the media, or foreign adversaries. It's about a deepening rift within the party itself, and it's happening right in front of our eyes. JD Vance, once seen as Trump's successor, is now being sidelined in a way that could change everything. Why is this happening? And what does it mean for the future of American politics? Stick around, because what's really at stake here is about much more than just foreign policy. So, what exactly is happening between Trump and JD Vance? At first glance, this might seem like a routine political clash, but the truth is, it's something far more dangerous. Trump isn't just disagreeing with Vance over policy or strategy. He's distancing himself from a figure who was once seen as the future of his movement. This isn't just a political disagreement. It's a slow-motion separation. What does that signal about the state of the Republican Party? Why is the party already struggling with internal divisions, facing yet another breakdown from within? And more importantly, why should you care? If this fracture between Trump and Vance goes deeper, it could reshape the entire political landscape. Here's where it gets critical. Donald Trump has gone from a leader with his eye on the future to a politician clinging to impulsive, erratic decisions. Take the Iran situation, for example. Just recently, Trump made a public statement that stunned everyone. He casually claimed that Iran had reached out to negotiate with the U.S. and talks were supposedly in the works. But then, without missing a beat, he added that the U.S. might need to act before those talks even happened. No details, no clear strategy, just confusion packaged as power. Now, why does this matter? Because this kind of reckless, unclear decision-making is exactly what JD Vance was trying to avoid. His entire political pitch was built on one central promise: no new wars. And now Trump's unpredictable moves on the world stage threaten to shatter that carefully crafted identity. Notice what's missing here. Trump doesn't even give a clear picture of what he means by acting before talks. No details, no reasoning, just chaos. And that chaos is exactly what Vance is trying to avoid. But can he? But here's where things escalate. Trump's stance on Iran is just the beginning. We've seen this before. The last time something like this unfolded, it sent shockwaves through global markets. And yet, here we are, again, staring down the barrel of yet another potentially catastrophic foreign policy disaster. JD Vance understands the stakes. A war with Iran would send oil prices soaring, destabilize markets, and alienate the very voters who were promised a new direction, an America First direction free from endless foreign entanglements. And yet Trump is pushing ahead with reckless confidence, all while ignoring the consequences. It's the same pattern that has defined his presidency: a rush to escalate, to act without understanding the fallout. But the difference now is that Trump is no longer acting alone. JD Vance, once by his side, is now quietly working to protect himself from the fallout. And as tensions rise, the Republican Party is splitting at the seams. What happens when the party's own future leaders are forced to distance themselves from Trump's chaos? That's what we're about to find out. Now the evidence gets even more troubling. Inside the White House, the tension between Trump and Vance has already boiled over. Leaks started to emerge, and they weren't accidental. Senior officials were suddenly talking to the press about Vance's push for diplomacy, while Trump leaned toward military action. The message was clear. Vance wasn't just challenging Trump's foreign policy. He was distancing himself from Trump's reckless behavior. Trump can't stand this kind of quiet defiance. He's known for one thing above all: control. And what happens when you challenge Trump's authority? You become a target. The narrative is being shaped, and Trump's enemies inside the party know how to play the game. Vance is positioning himself as the responsible, measured voice in the room, while Trump is portrayed as the impulsive, reckless one. This framing is doing more than just protecting Vance's political future. It's also setting him up as the one who warned the country when everything went wrong. But notice what's truly important here. Vance is creating a narrative for himself that will survive Trump's failure. And that, more than anything, is what makes Trump dangerous. He won't forget this. He never does. And it's not just Vance. The pressure is mounting across the board. Inside Trump's circle, everyone is scrambling. Leaks are multiplying. Senior aides are privately warning that escalating with Iran could trigger a financial crisis, destabilize markets, and shatter any claim to restraint that Trump has left. But Trump? He's ignoring them all. And the clock is ticking. The midterms are looming, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Donors are nervous, Congress is on edge, and instead of pulling things together, Trump is pushing everyone away. He's attacking his own cabinet, berating Congress, and pressuring the Federal Reserve. He's creating chaos, and now the Republican Party is reeling, trying to stay afloat in the midst of it all. What happens if this continues? The party fractures even further. The GOP struggles to maintain control, and Trump's grip on power starts to slip. The fractures we're seeing today will be nothing compared to what's coming tomorrow. Now, let's step back and think about what all of this really means for you. The political infighting, the leaks, the chaotic foreign policy decisions. It's not just a game for those in Washington. This is real. If Trump pushes the U.S. into a war with Iran, it won't just be a problem for politicians. It'll hit everyday Americans hard. Oil prices will skyrocket. Gas at the pump will soar. The economy, already fragile, will take another blow. And here's where JD Vance's position gets even more critical. He's positioning himself as the one who tried to stop this, as the one who saw the storm coming and urged caution. But what happens when the consequences of Trump's actions start hitting your wallet? When the global markets begin to crumble, you'll remember who was pushing for restraint and who was pushing for escalation. If this resonates with you, let us know in the comments. How do you think this will affect your life? But here's the thing. This isn't just about Trump's unpredictability or JD Vance's political maneuvering. It's about the larger system at play. The reason all of this is happening is because of the way power functions in Washington. When leaders like Trump stop listening to the experts, to those who are supposed to manage the reality of the situation, chaos follows. It's not about ideology anymore. It's about self-preservation. Trump's unpredictable behavior, his disregard for advice, his impulsive decisions, is creating an environment where everyone around him is hedging their bets. JD Vance, the GOP's so-called future, is positioning himself for 2028 by quietly distancing from Trump, avoiding the blame for potential military failure. But he's not alone. More Republicans are starting to see the writing on the wall. Standing too close to Trump could cost them everything. It's not just about whether Trump wins or loses. It's about what happens when the people around him start preparing for life after him. That's when things really begin to break down. Now, let's look ahead. Two possible futures are on the table. On one hand, Trump doubles down. He pushes the country further into conflict with Iran, ignores the warnings, and continues to erode his own support within the party. The GOP's fractures deepen, and as midterms approach, it becomes clear that Trump's once unshakable grip on the party is slipping. On the other hand, JD Vance and others could continue to distance themselves, using Trump's mistakes as a way to build their own political futures. As Republicans quietly prepare for a post-Trump world, they're calculating their moves. If Trump's policies fail, they'll need to be positioned to step in. The thing is, no one really knows which way it'll go. But with every misstep, Trump's hold on the party weakens. And as the pressure mounts, something's going to give. The next move is already forming, but which path will the GOP take? Here's the truth. Trump's control over the Republican Party is crumbling, not because of any external threat, but because his own actions are pushing everyone around him to prepare for a future without him. JD Vance's quiet break from Trump is just the beginning. This moment, when loyalty turns to fear, is the beginning of the end of Trump's reign as the undisputed leader of the GOP. But that's not the end of the story. The party is in a state of collapse, but the real question is, who will rise to take control when Trump falls? More importantly, how will the party rebuild after years of fear-driven loyalty? As things get more unpredictable, the stakes get higher. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, keep following. There's a lot more to this story, and it's just getting started. Don't miss out on what's coming next. Hit subscribe and join the conversation.